Hi everybody, here I am with Sheela for heart to heart talk as disciple to disciple because I don't treat her as ex disciple the way I don't treat many of the present disciples as disciples. It's my way of seeing the life. And this is a kind of few questions in a very amateurish, non professional way. And if this video becomes good, then I will have the courage to ask next time few more questions. And the questions are not pre planned. What I have seen and lived in the last 30 years, it is based on that. What comes spontaneously will be the right answer, right questions, and I hope and I pray question and answers both are in the spirit of truth, serving the cause of truth, nothing else but truth. So, Sheila, I want to know one thing. I know from 1983, you were in India and there was an interview where you mentioned your father and Osho's father have a long connection. You have almost a family connection with, and your father adopted Osho when he was a young boy. Can you tell something because this fact is never revealed?
It was very simple. We were having many backup situation for Bhagwan's immigration. And one situation is that when Bhagwan is adopted by American citizen or American green card holder, then he can enter the country. And it was again a backup position for Bhagwan's immigration.
So basically, many situations were created as a to cheat the system, one can say, or as an immigrant.
You can call it cheat the system, or you can call it we presented it, that system accepts it.
Okay, but it is not a fact
Well, my father did adopt him.
at that time.
Uh, and my father is happy to adopt him.
As a 45, 50-year-old man.
Why not?
To okay.
Yes.
So it was
not?
in the spirit of this thing.
It's an honor.
Oh, okay. And the other question is always asked in the sannyas world. Osho was not interested in America at all. It was Sheela who pushed him. Was a Bhagwan baby, or it was your inspiration, or it was his own free choice?
Bhagwan wanted a land where he can carry out his dream, his experiment of communal lifestyle. Lakshmi tried a number of places, but it was not successful due to Indira Gandhi's government and emergency rule. I had been to many places with Lakshmi looking for the land in India. Unfortunately, it was not possible. Then I said, should we try in America, because American Constitution allows every philosophy to flower in the world. They are liberal-minded. I knew little about Constitution and little about American mentality also. I was naive. And I suggested, and Bhagwan said, yes, you go look for the land.
Because when you see Bhagwan, or you, or in general, when we look at the height side, Osho has always spoken about human psychology and everything. He also, or you in hindsight, could not conceive how a foreign country can allow a foreigner to create a city. Means, just imagine a Christian comes and create a Mishail Nagar in India. Means the backlash means.
You are absolutely right. When it would have been a project pre-planned, then it would not happen. You would not, the risk is much greater.
Okay.
But for Bhagwan, there was no risk. He wanted his commune to happen overnight. He wanted his dream to come to a fruit and ripen instantly. Bhagwan was more like an instant coffee, not the ground coffee that we like to drink. And he was so tired of this tight lifestyle in Pune ashram
Okay.
for himself and for his sannyasins. He wanted to go out. And it's not a question. Bhagwan was man of spontaneity. And for him, it didn't matter that you plan a project, you have all the experts together, you have this together, and then you do your project. He had a dream, he wanted this dream in action.
But Irkand was something must have forgotten. You cannot plant mangoes in apple countries and vice versa. Means one has to look at the collective mind, land, atmosphere, everything.
You're right.
But in the
that logic was not there. You need a logic to think that you can't plant mango in an apple country.
yeah,
But Bhagwan's mind was very creative. And he was determined man, and determination can do many things. And we did plant mangoes in juniper country.
yeah. But the end shows.
No, and doesn't show me that.
Okay.
And shows to me totally different.
Okay.
And shows that his experiment was 100% successful. Different race, different people, different color, different religion, different languages. People lived harmoniously together in Rajneeshpuram. So it is not my understanding that it was a failure of his experiment. No. There would be a big mistake. You see in my house, we are 15 nationality living and working together here, even today. And experiment is successful, same as it was successful in Rajneeshpuram.
Because if the experiment was successful, there were the inter conflicts between the people who were closer to Osho. It was like the way I perceive it was like a palace politics who wants to get the attention of the queen or king. So the closest disciples were creating the sabotage feeling with each other.
This phenomenon of being closer to Bhagwan was the corrupting factor, not his experiment.
Okay.
His experiment was pure. It functioned. There were people who wanted to show the world they were the most surrendered people, or they are ready for enlightenment, or they are the most meditative. It has nothing to do with Bhagwan's experiment, Bhagwan's dream. Bhagwan always said, don't look at me where I'm pointing at finger, look at the moon that I'm showing you. And what did people want? People wanted to catch his finger and hold on to it.
Okay. But you accept that there are people who were closer to Osho, like you, doctor, financiers, other 10, 20 people, they were sabotaging each other. There were no in trust among the.
My information, my reality is different. I do know that people who were living in Lao Tzu house together with him were very insecure people. Because everybody in the commune felt people who lived in Lao Tzu house, they were special, they were meditative, they were close to enlightenment. I had never such delusion. And I would never allow that delusion, nor did I see anyone in my team had that kind of delusion. It was not our theme. Our theme was creating this beautiful dream of Bhagwan.
Yeah, in a living anatomy, let me disturb, hands, fingers, there are hundreds of parts. They all work in harmony, but when the internal two, three organs start conflicting with each other, the body dies. If due to the heart attack, hands and limbs, everything will die. Same way in the company also. When two, three people who want to be the CEO or who want to take over the company. So I think there was an element of jealousy, rivalry between the closest disciples, between you and say Dr. Amrito, Dr. Devraj.
I had no jealousy of Amrita. Don't misunderstand
No, you
it.
don't have the jealousy because you are the number one. So the other people have the jealousy to take your place.
That's right. And that was explained to me directly by Bhagwan the first day when he chose me as his secretary. He said, "You will be hated by every member of this community.
Okay.
Every member of this community will blame you for everything."
Yes.
And I have said it many times. A queen has to be under guillotine in the end. And I was under guillotine, not just by his people, by himself.
Yep.
So, and do I feel bad about it? I paid my price. I'm being still assassinated even today by his people. It just shows that I was a person that can take it. I was a person who was a thorn of everybody's eyes.
Have you told to Bhagwan that you are feeling these kind of feelings that other people are trying to
Many
create?
times, many times. And Bhagwan said, "You don't bother, Sheela, you ignore." And when Bhagwan says you don't bother, you ignore, I accept.
Yeah, he's the boss.
He's the boss.
But in the end, the means I have heard many times in his discourses when Osho started talking against you, I was in silence. Everything was done by Sheela. I was. Is it so? When Osho says I was in silence, was he living in a cave, or it means I am sure he was not giving the public discourses. This is clear. But he was. Was he? What was his day when he says I am in
Well, I
silence?
have to say, when you think that you understand that he wasn't giving public discourses, you show a bit more intelligence than the other people. He was not speaking publicly. He saw people privately. He saw people who were in Lao Tzu house privately. He saw me, part of my team, also from time to time. Privately, he saw even visiting sannyasis that he was interested in privately. He saw his mother also privately. So,
So this thing that I was in silence gives this impression man is sitting in a cave with a vow of silence. He is unaware what is happening. So the blame is on my secretary.
that was his protection. To blame everything on secretary was his legal protection. And that protection was mutually understood between me and him
Okay.
and his lawyers. And I'm happy to offer him that protection.
Okay.
That was his love and trust for me, and that was my love and trust for him. Can we stop for a moment?